Welcome to Why They Play the Game, a show created to discuss the NBA on and off the court. I'm just one of your hosts, Michael Eric Owens.
And I'm Ken
Hey,
Hayes.
my brother, how you doing today?
I'm good, man. Played a little golf
Oh
today.
man.
Not as well as I
Oh,
wanted to
okay.
play, but
You did you
it was
lose no
still
money, did you? Okay.
nah.
Okay. That's all I want to know. No, long as the
Nah.
bank account's still thick, we are.
Okay.
But man, the weather must be nice up there. You getting out on the links.
So Mike, it's been like 80 for the last, I'm gonna say 2
Oh, okay.
weeks.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be 80 all week, the entire
Oh,
week
okay.
coming up. So, it's I guess they say Indian summer in Wisconsin.
Yeah, man. Well, we could talk about global warming, but that'll be another conversation.
Oh man, it's a long one too, but
Folks, we decided that we were going to talk about Marques Johnson, and we know as Bucks fans just how much Marques Johnson means to the city of Milwaukee, what he means to the Milwaukee Bucks, and personally what he means to us. He was someone we watched growing up, falling in love with, and
man.
later on in the show, I have a little Marques Johnson story.
Oh,
But folks, the big question is, does Marques Johnson deserve to be in the NBA Hall of Fame? And really there is no standard criteria. You just have to be out the league 4 years. In your fifth year, you can have to be retired for 4 years. Then your fifth year, you can be nominated. But there's actually two nominating committees, and I know you're aware of these. There's the North American and then the Women's Committee. And you have to first go in front of those screening committees. Those are the two screening committees. And you have to get, for the North American, you got to get, there's 9 total votes. You got to get 7 out of 9. And for the women,
okay.
there's 7 total votes, and then you got to get 5 out of that. From there, you go to the Board of Trustees for the Basketball Hall of Fame, which of the North American Committee, again, same name, has 27 voting members, and then the women's has 21. And in order to get in, you have to get at least 18 from those committees in order to be enshrined into the Basketball Hall of Fame. So, Ken, what say you?
Oh, Mike, this has been going on for a long time. Let's start here, Mike. Marcus, drafted in 1977, third overall pick. Um, and the thing about it is that as far as I'm concerned, he probably should have been the first overall pick. I think in that year, Milwaukee picked Kent Benson as their number one pick. Um, Marcus just had, I mean, they even changed the position for him. They called him a point forward. Back in the days with the Bucks.
Don Nelson, right? That
Played
was with
11.
Don Nelson.
Yeah, Don Nelson, right. Um, played 11 years, and I don't know if that's the reason behind him not getting into the Hall yet. Let's put it that way. Um, the thing that was so remarkable about Marcus is that he averaged 20 a game, gave you about 7 rebounds and 3 assists per game for his entire career. Played both ends, offense and defense. And then to think about it, Mike, he just could grab the rebound and just take it, down the court, assist, dunk it, or whatever, or shoot the jumper. I mean, that's just how versatile he was. And the thing about it is that you mentioned, I'll mention this, is that Walter Davis, I think he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
In which
He
I
just, matter of
compare
fact, he just went in.
Walter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right. I compare Walter and Marcus. I won't say their games were alike, but they were, rivals. I'll put it that way. In Marcus' third year, he was third leading scorer, averaging about 25 and a half per game. So I just think a big part of Milwaukee's offense revolved around Marcus. then I would say probably about 7 years later, he got traded to the Clippers, in which that just wasn't a good
Mhm.
thing. But comeback player of the year.
Indeed,
So
indeed.
it and the thing, I mean, I just don't. I mean, you can make a case for uh, him being the Hall, and I think, um, and it was a span of like 2 years. Mark has only played about 20 games because he hurt his neck,
Yeah.
and it was. They said it was really a
Mhm.
career-ending injury, but he still came
Well, he
back
went
and
over to
played.
Europe after that and got
Right,
out.
yeah,
Right,
and
right,
played,
right.
yeah, and was averaging
Right.
20 and better. So um, I still think that the way he competed against Dr.
Mhm.
J, Bird, and it's just no way in the world that he should not be in the Hall of Fame.
People don't realize Milwaukee swept Bird that year. They swept Boston that year. They
Oh
don't
yeah,
realize, and
yeah,
he was a big part of that. Ken, and you're so correct. I mean, folks, if you have not heard of Marques Johnson, I know a lot of the young heads, don't like to go back but man, if you love the game of basketball, you got to be a historian of the game. You just can't be caught up in the present, man. Understand that which this game has come from. And when you look at and they do say for the Basketball Hall of Fame, like your entire career is part of that conversation. Like it's not just
oh,
what you did in the NBA. So what we know about Mark is, being out in California at the famous Crenshaw High School. We know how many cold players
yeah.
that then came through there. Man, he was Mr. Basketball. You understand what I'm saying? So right off the gate, this guy was dynamic. And then Ken, what did he do at UCLA? We know what he did. Come on,
Won that
man.
won that
Man,
chip,
we
man.
know what he did at
So
UCLA in his college
I
career.
think that was in '75.
Go ahead, Ken.
They won a championship in '75 at UCLA. Um, I mean, a four-time NBA All-Star, um, two-time All NBA second team. Uh, 2 years he was NBA first team. So NBA rookie first team in 1978.
Well, Ken,
So
let's go back
it
a little bit before that. Okay, in his sophomore year, like you said, they won the chip. Okay, with the legendary John Wooden. That was his final basketball championship. When he retired, okay, Marcus continued to excel, and he was earning the first of his first two all Pac-8 selection as a junior. He averaged 21.1 points and 11 rebounds, so he averaged a double-double per game in his senior season
man.
and won the inaugural, the first one, John R. Wooden Award. Okay. In addition, he was the College Player of the Year. Okay. I mean, this guy on every level has been excellent. And we got Hall of Famers, and one temptation is I'm glad we stayed away from. One temptation is to look at another player in the hall and compare him and say, well, if you put him in the hall, how can you not put? But then that's kind of negative on the player. And I believe everybody that's in the hall deserve to be in the hall. So I'm not going to make those comparisons. Folks, you can go out there and make those comparisons because they're quite interesting. But what I will say, his cachet and what he has done for the game of basketball, like you say, for a career, this man has averaged over 20 points a game. Okay. And he played against some of I mean, like you said Dr. J, right? And we're gonna watch something here in a minute. But Ken, you just briefly talked about, his NBA stats. Like you say, 5-time NBA All-Star, all NBA first team, 2-time all NBA second team, all rookie team. Okay, we know about all the college awards, man. This dude had Ken. I mean, player of the year. I mean, the list goes on and on. And Marcus was consistent. When you look at his numbers, I mean, I don't think there was a season other than those last couple of seasons when he had the injury. Marcus didn't average under 16 points a game. I mean, he
Nah,
was balling. He had, he had 30s, he had 40s. I mean, Marcus was a serious beast. And as you mentioned, why is it important for him to go in? Folks, he was the first point for you. Now, you got the KDs, you got the Giannis's, you got all of these guys that have come along. Marcus was the first big man, 6'7", bringing the ball down court
man.
and going to work. He was the first one. When we see Giannis snatch the ball and take off and go down, when you saw Shaq do that and you saw others do that, Marcus was doing that. He was a
Mark.
point forward because at the time the Bucks were struggling with their point position. And Don Nelson said, Marcus, just start taking the ball up. So he
Right,
had handle. He had handle, and guess what?
man.
He had skill too. We had skill too.
Oh,
But folks,
man.
listen, we don't want you to just take our word for it. We want you to listen to some of the players that he played against, and then you can tell us whether or not you agree with us. Let's go do this.
Ladies and gentlemen, Marques Johnson.
Marcus had a very high IQ basketball-wise, in addition to just raw talent. I mean, his leaping ability, but he was more than raw. He was very polished with his footwork, with his technique, and
Give me that.
he was just right up there with the top forwards in the game at that time.
Another slam for this remarkable basketball talent, Marques Johnson.
He had the body for it, that's for sure. He had height. He had great physique. Could run, could jump, could shoot it, could handle it. He was a really outstanding all-around basketball player. I mean, certainly contributed to the success of the teams that he played on, without question.
He was really actually the first point forward that you had to guard out on the floor. He had unbelievable ball handling ability at 6'8", very physical, very skilled player. So he was a wonderful player.
Marques Johnson crosses over on the dribble. What a move. See, there's one of the great players in basketball, Marques Johnson.
Marcus was a hard worker. I mean, he understood the game, smart player, and he was a contributor. He was able there to provide for the team whatever they needed, and through defense, rebounding, scoring. He's just very versatile.
Marques!
He was a 6'7" small power forward. He was a player that he could shoot the jump shot, he could handle the ball, he'd go to the hole, he'd throw down on you. It was unfortunate that he got injured because he could have gone on to be one of the great players in the NBA.
Mr. Wonderful does it again, Marques Johnson.
One of my clearest memories is a playoff run between he and Dr. J. And to see the level of competition, it was one of those things where I was like, man, it looked like they were ready to fight. And to see the level of tenacity that Marcus had, and as far as not backing down from Dr. J and even stop Doc, that was an eye-opening experience for me.
I think he was the greatest player in our game at that point. He was better than Dr. J, I know that. They can tell me all they want about Dr. J. I'd have him on my team in a heartbeat.
What a beautiful effort by Marques Johnson.
He could score, rebound, run. So he was a good athlete. He could play.
And Marques Johnson did a number.
Marques Johnson was a thorn throughout my whole career. And I have a great deal of respect and admiration for his skill sets and his talent. He could put the ball on the floor. He played well in transition. He was capable of posting or shooting the long-range jump shot. Rebounding was a tremendous asset of his as well. He was simply one of the best all-around players to ever play the game of basketball.
So, Ken, what you think?
Man, you heard it from some great players, said it that Marcus, at the time, Marcus is probably one of the best, I'll say top 3 in the league at that time when he was with Milwaukee. Used to give Dr. J fits. And, and held his own against Bird. I'll say this, Mike, and I'm trying to be unbiased as I can. I think, in that era, I think Marcus and and Bird, I'll go with Bird because they won some championships. You can't take that away from. I'll say I'll take put Bird 1, Marcus 2nd, and Dr. J 3rd. I mean, some people may disagree, but
I don't know if I put Doc. I
on a
don't know if I
level,
put Doc 3rd though.
now I don't know, Mike.
I don't know. I don't know about that, Ken, because the Doc be operating. But I
Oh
hear what you're
yeah.
saying though. He was, and a lot of people understand. Playing in Milwaukee not having that championship success during his career. They did go deep in the Eastern Conference multiple times. I think that kind of hurt Marcus not getting a ring. But man, when you
Oh
listen
yeah.
to Artis Gilmore, when you listen to these guys, Dominique, you listen to all of these guys that played with him, game no game. And it ain't no
Oh yeah.
way, when you are in the Hall of Fame, I could only imagine because of course I'm not in anyone's Hall of Fame. But being in a Hall of Fame, I could only imagine looking at other players and realizing like, man, that dude need to be here too. You know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah.
this dude, what was that Bernard King that said he gave him fits? You know what I mean? And we
Fits
know how
right,
Bernard King was.
but
You
not
see what I'm saying? So
beast.
Marcus was one of those players. I think he represented the game well. He was a great ambassador for the game, and he played the game the right way. And if you talk about what is the Hall of Fame all about? The Hall of Fame to me, Ken, is about consistency throughout your entire career, meaning that you deserve to be enshrined in here because you have been not only a great basketball player, but you've been also a great ambassador for the game. And
Oh,
I
definitely.
think Marcus meets that criteria in all his numbers. Man, come on. I mean, he was all NBA, man, first and second team. He was an all-star. He was third in the league in scoring one year. Like this dude has been consistent. The numbers are there, and we do have folks, okay, in the Hall of Fame that has not had such an accomplished career. Not meaning they don't need to be there. But I'm saying, like, if they're there, then there's a
Mm.
no-brainer for Marcus to be there, Ken.
Oh, I agree with you totally. I just think like it was like I think it was like 86 through 90. Like I said, he only played 20 games because of that injury. And I think that I'll say that's the number one thing that's keeping him out of the Hall of
Mm-hmm.
Fame. I mean, but based on just say season after season, Marcus was a bad boy. I'll tell you one story, Mike, is that I think it was either his third, I always say his fourth or fifth season with Milwaukee. He held out, wanted more
Mm-hmm.
money, and they were going back and forth. So he missed a couple of games during the regular season. I think he might have came back either the first or second game at Milwaukee, but when he came back, it was just a standing
Yeah,
ovation, man. That's how Milwaukee looked.
absolutely.
Milwaukee loved Marcus.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely, Ken. 2013, Marcus was inducted into the College Basketball Hall of Fame. 2019, he was inducted into the California Sports Hall of Fame. Okay, in 96, they retired his jersey at UCLA. And in 2019, his jersey was retired in Milwaukee, which was much overdue. But
dude,
we're happy it was. And then in, did I say 2019, he was inducted to the Wisconsin Athletic Hall of Fame. Man, listen.
so let me give you
Uh-huh.
another story, Mike. So I'm gonna say this was around maybe 2014. I was at it was like a little get together for people who wanted to become season ticket holders for the Bucks. So I think the assistant general manager were there, and and they had like a Q&A, and I asked the question. I said, plain and simple, when you gonna retire Marcus
Mm,
Johnson's number?
mm.
We're working on it, and things like that. I'm like, that should have been done a long time ago. So he said, yeah, we're trying to get that to happen. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, all right. So, but fairness to the Bucks, they did, retire his number in 2019. So, I just think that was huge. And, now he's a commentator for the Bucks on Fox. So you can't ask them more of that.
And I love to hear Marcus call the game. I love to hear him behind the microphone, man. He's of course we know he's knowledgeable, but his personality, man, his personality, he just, and again, I've never met Marques Johnson. I would leap at the chance to meet the brother. I think he is, like I say, man, growing up, man, I loved Marques Johnson. Let me give you my story, Ken. So when I was a junior and we went to state that year, we had a chance to watch the Bucks or the Atlanta Hawks do shoot around, and we missed the Bucks because of the fact that when we couldn't get to the arena in certain times, schools had to come in and so forth. So we sat in on the Atlanta Hawks, and John Drew. You remember John Drew?
Yeah.
John was cold too now. And
yeah.
He'll get up there on you, right? So he's just sitting around, man, talking to us, real cool cat, man, just talking to us, man. And I just blurted out my mouth. I said, "What you gonna do with Marcus tonight?" He looked at me and he said, "Marcus who?" Kid, I looked at him. I said, "Marcus gonna kill you tonight." He just started laughing, man. But it's crazy how so many players have so much respect for this guy, man, across the league. We know the story of Jordan having his poster in his North Carolina, dorm room of Marques Johnson, how Michael Jordan, and in my opinion, the GOAT feels about Marcus. There is, man, it's baffling to me, that he's not in the Hall of Fame, man. If, again, yeah, am I biased? Yeah, I am. But his numbers, though, in his career, man, listen, this dude was a winner on every level. You know who else we can talk about like that? That's Kareem, a winner on every level. So when you become a winner on every level, man, just because he didn't win a chip, we know it takes, man, it takes a team, it takes luck, it takes health, it takes positioning, it takes everything. Not one player can win a chip. So that should not be against him for not winning a chip. And there are multiple people that are in the Hall of Fame who have not won a chip. And again, right now there's 227 eligible players for the Hall of Fame. So beat writers, I don't know who, I don't know who's doing the voting, but I know some sports writers, and they have votes and things of that nature. Please do us a favor and put Marques Johnson at the top of your list.
Well, Mike, let me do this for you. Let me give you my story. So I'm out one day, or in the evening, I put it that way. So I run into Marques Johnson. He out. I said, well, I'm just going to ask his brother for his autograph. Cool, Mike. He said, oh, definitely. Signed it. We talked for about, 3-5 minutes. And he just real personable, Mike. And like I said, Marcus was, just huge in the community. And, I think that is, like I said, I won't say the only reason, but I'll say Marcus made fans just, come to the arena and just watch him play. It was just at that time when they were going, back and forth in the playoffs, Marcus was the main man.
If you didn't live in Milwaukee, maybe you don't understand. But Marcus, that was it. You might throw Junior Bridgman in there, Bob Lanier in there, Sidney Moncrief, of course. See, you throw them in there, but he ran with all of them, man. And Quinn Buckner, I mean, but Marcus, you cannot talk about. And see, this is a Hall of Famer. Like, you can't talk about certain teams without talking about their great players. Can't talk about Chicago without talking about Jordan. Okay, you can't talk about LA without mentioning Magic, Kareem, Kobe, Shaq. The list goes on and on, right?
Right.
You cannot talk about Milwaukee basketball. You cannot. You cannot have a historical Bucks conversation without Marques Johnson being the centerpiece of that conversation. Now, for a dude to be a centerpiece of a NBA franchise and not to be in the Hall of Fame, I think is a disservice, not only to the NBA, but to the fan base, because the fan base needs to know about Marcus, man. I think I would like to see this renaissance of us now looking back at these players, man, and stop doing what a lot of these young cats are doing, is like hating on the older cats that built the foundation, Ken. And we talked about that last week, that the NBA is the only place where you look back and you talk disparagingly about the people that set the foundation. People never talk negatively about Babe Ruth, you know what I mean? Or people like Barry Sanders, or, you admire what they did for the game. And I think we can have maybe a renaissance of educating players, but you got to go out and do your own education. Okay, you know what? We laying the foundation. There's plenty film out there on Marcus. There's plenty stories out there on him, and I would encourage you to do that. And maybe we need to get a petition going or something. I don't know. What is it gonna take? What's it gonna take for us to get it? Maybe you up in Bruce City, you back at the crib. Maybe you can start a petition to get Marques Johnson into the Hall of Fame, because that's going to be a glorious day, man. It really is. Well deserved.
But Mike, we can't mention, you just mentioned film.
Mm-hmm.
So Marcus, I won't say he had a starring role, but he had a role in White Man
That is
Can't
correct.
Jump. So,
Brother got a little actor,
like
or
I
something,
said, man.
Marcus got a little actor,
right?
Yeah.
I know he has a production company, so that was cool, and when people, they put two and two together, and oh, that's Marques Johnson,
Yeah.
So, but
yeah. The original MJ.
Right.
If I say that, man, I don't know. The GOAT might get mad at me for saying that.
No, I don't think so.
Ken, last word, my brother, on Marques Johnson, his worthiness to go into the Hall of Fame.
Mike, there's no question Marcus should be in the Hall of Fame. I would say probably one of my, as far as a Buck fan, he's probably, number one on the hit parade. I mean, you got to mention people like you said, Kareem, Ray Allen, Sidney Moncrief. But Marcus to me is one of my favorite players, and there's no reason why he should not be in the Hall of Fame. So like you said, maybe we do have to put that petition together and get him in.
No doubt, folks. Ken, I couldn't have said it better. The world of sports unites us. Let us take this unity in our everyday life. This is why they play the game.